So
yeah, I have actually I have a question.
So during the program, you are also free to ask questions. No problem. So
yeah, actually I have a question.
Wonderful.
But later we can share it.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, we can share it later.
Excellent. Arna is always very well organized.
Yes.
You are very well organized. 3 years ago, when we met you over there in Indonesia, I remember you were really organized. Very nice. Very hardworking.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We are live now, are we?
Yes, 6 o'clock.
digitalisasi pembelajaran, maka SMA SANTO YOSEF punya yang kita sebut sebagai Samsung Smart learning class ini adalah suatu kelas khusus terkait tentang digitalisasi pembelajaran agar dalam percepatan memperoleh informasi akan lebih cepat dan penyerapan daripada tujuan pembelajaran akan lebih baik.
Kegiatan-kegiatan siswa di SMA Santo Yosef ini selain kegiatan belajar mengajar, ya sekolah kita juga untuk siswa itu banyak kegiatan-kegiatan yang semuanya itu dalam satu wadah ekstrakurikuler namanya. Nah, kegiatan ekstrakurikuler ini dilaksanakan setiap hari setelah KBM selesai. Adapun kegiatan-kegiatannya seperti ada dance, kemudian ada musik, ada kemudian catur, ada kemudian melukis, ada kemudian bentuk semua olahraga, voli, futsal, karate, dan lain-lain. Banyak sekali kegiatan-kegiatan ekstrakurikuler di SMA Santo Yosef ini. Di SMA Santo Yosef yang baru didapat baru-baru ini ya, seperti ya sekolah kita selalu mengikuti tiap tahunnya itu OSN, O2SN. Ya untuk O2SN kita pernah mendapat juara 1 emas dalam cabang karate. Kemudian dalam OSN juga kita mendapat juara 2. Kemudian juga untuk prestasi-prestasi yang lain juga di luar pemerintahan ini, misalnya seperti ada lomba akuntansi, kemudian lomba debat, kemudian lomba seni dan lain-lain. Sekolah kita juga selalu mendapat juara 1, terkadang juara 2, terkadang juara 3 ya. Kira-kira itu masalah prestasi, hampir setiap tahun sekolah kita selalu berprestasi dalam segala hal, dalam akademik maupun dalam olahraga. Yang terakhir ini yaitu dalam hal olahraga, misalnya basket. Dalam hal basket ini yang dilaksanakan di Babinka, sekolah kita yang putra dapat juara 2, yang putri dapat juara 3.
Okay, hello, everyone. The Honorable Mr. Arun Sharma and Mr. Chu Bansang. And I would like to introduce you that we have one of my friend here. He is also an English teacher, Mr. Prima. Later, he will bring the welcoming speech. And then we have some participants here. And then now, this is the time to begin the coaching clinic meeting. Please, MC, Jonathan, and Delica, time is yours for both of you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, welcome to this virtual coaching clinic. Our topic in this virtual coaching clinic is how to add humor to engage your audience. Special thanks for our President Chapter of Rotary Club 3310 Singapore, Mr. Chiu Ban Seng, and our coach tonight, Mr. Arun Sharma. And our English teacher is Ma'am Erna and Sir Prima. And all of you guys who have joined this event. Okay, first, we are gonna have welcoming speech from Mr. Prima. So, Mr. Prima, your stack it's yours.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Good evening, the President. How do you say that again, sir? Chapter.
Chapter President.
Okay. Good evening, sir. As the President, the Chapter President, Rotary E Club of 3310 Singapore, Mr. Chiu Ban Seng, and also the honored coach, Rotarian and Toastmaster, Mr. Arun Sharma, Ma'am Erna, and all of my beloved students whom I'm really proud of. First of all, let us thank God Almighty for his endless love, grace, and blessings so that we can gather here healthily in order to continue the World Speech Day event today. Millions of thanks to Mr. Chu Ban Seng and also Mr. Arun Sharma. You have spent your energy, time, and thought, and also share your experience to the students of Santo YOSEF Senior High School. May God fully repay all of your kindness, sir. Dear my beloved students, I only have one advice. Do not be afraid of making mistake. As you can see, okay, hang on. Let me here. Now, as you can see, I have been English teacher for, let's say, 16 years. Yeah, can you imagine that? 16 years I have been an English teacher. I've been teaching in several places. Yet, I still make mistake. Okay, don't be afraid of making mistake. Be brave. Be courageous. Making mistake is human. Okay, by making mistake, you learn something. Let Mr. Arun Sharma handle your mistake. Am I correct, sir? Okay. And this experience is really valuable and priceless. Okay. You cannot get it anywhere else. For your information, there are many other students who would like to join this event. Unfortunately, the seats are very limited. So you can consider yourselves as the lucky ones. Okay. Don't waste this. Okay. Try to improve yourself, try to upgrade yourself because it's such a very rare opportunity. When you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask because you will have this event next year, okay? You will miss this event if you don't ask questions, if you hold yourself. Just let the world know what you are capable of, okay? I know all of you, each of you, has a really great potential. And I believe Mr. Arun Sharma and Mr. Chu Ban Seng are able to make you blossom as the flowers in the spring. Okay. And let's do the best and let God do the rest. I think that's all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Prima. Now it's time for President Rotary Club of 3310 Singapore, Mr. Chiu Ban Seng. He will give further information about Rotary Club.
Thank you, Jonathan. My name is Chuban Singh. I'm the Charter President of Rotary E-Club of 3310. Charter in this case means Founding President, CHARTER, just to let you know. Not Chapter President, because the Chapter President or the Club President is somebody else who will be speaking to you on the 10th of March. He's Eli Ho. So I just want to make things everybody clear about it. I'd like to once again thank Erna Widiati for making this possible. And when she approached me to talk about helping the students with 3 topics, one is how to tell stories, good stories, so that your speech become memorable, how to add humor into the speech so that people will be able to get excited and engaged. And finally, how to use PowerPoint or not to use PowerPoint at all. A lot of times what has happened is that people who do presentation, they thought that public speaking is about PowerPoint. And without PowerPoint, they don't know what to do. That's wrong. PowerPoint should be used as an aid and not as a clutch. A clutch means if I don't have it, there's a power failure, I cannot speak. So that's wrong, all right? And of course, the third speaker on the 10th of March is going to share with you how PowerPoint can be very powerfully used. And also at what time or when you should forget about PowerPoint and just be the personality people are looking for. That's more important, because when I come to hear your speech, your presentation, I didn't come to see your PowerPoint. I come to see you as a person, because you make the difference. Prima talk about making mistakes. It's very interesting, isn't it? Because what happens is that mistakes brings experiences to our life. In order to become a great person, we always say, what's your experiences? Then of course you say, well, I'm good at doing this, I've done this, I've done that. And how can you have all these experiences? You only have these experiences because you have made mistake, and you remember those mistakes that you make, and then this time you don't make those same mistake. So always remember, mistake is just one hurdle that you just cross. Because you have made the mistake, you become a better person. Only a fool make the same mistake the second time, the third time, and the fourth time. So ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, parliamentees, I encourage you to make mistakes. The more mistakes you make, the better you will become. And our coaches, the 6 of us, 6 of them, rather not me, because myself is just helping to coordinate. 6 coaches who are giving you personal mentoring and coaching. Please engage them. Don't be shy to ask questions, because the moment you ask questions, it means you have a new learning. And that's very important, because I don't know what you want to know, and I don't know how knowledgeable you are until you ask the question. And when you ask the question, that's only the time when we as coaches and mentors can actually help you to make you better. So ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, please ask as many questions as you can. Over to you, Jonathan. MC Jonathan, over to you. I think you're on mute, Jonathan. Jonathan, I think you're on mute.
Jonathan, unmute.
Okay, wait. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chuban Singh. For your information, I hope the information is useful to our knowledge. And now, sorry. I'm sorry. Rotary Club is Rotary Club 3310 is the one as operating Rotary Cyber Club in Asia as a prototype Rotary Club of 3310 operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on cyberspace. Rotary Club 3310 mission is to make this world a better place, to provide service to others, to promote high ethical standards, and to advance world understanding, goodwill, stroke its fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. So I will tell a little bit about Mr. Arun information. Mr. Arun is an author, a life coach, a business consultant, and a social entrepreneur, and a fit Toastmaster. Arun is a member of several Toastmaster clubs both in Singapore and overseas. Well, now is the time to begin the coaching session. So, Mr. Arun, the stage is yours.
Good evening, my friend Chuban Singh, Madam Arna, Sir Prima, and fellow participants. It's my pleasure to have this topic discussed with you. If you are a good chef, you make your dish quite well, and you forget to add salt in it, what happens? It's bland. People don't like it. If you don't add humor to your speech, it will be bland. It's like salt. It's very small quantity. You prepare a 1 kilo of food, probably you add only a few grams of salt. Salt is the taste in that food. Similarly, you have to create or inject humor in your speeches. Otherwise, people may find it boring. People may not be able to connect with your speech. And when they don't connect with your speech, though they are looking at you, but then they don't listen to you. You feel that everyone, all the 20 participants on the screen are looking at me. But in reality, they may not be hearing me. My dear friends, there are many principles to add humor to your speech. The first principle is element of surprise. Now, how do you add surprise? If you want to speak something, it should not be predictable. Your audience should not be able to predict that this is how you will end your sentence. If they expect something else and you speak something else, that creates humor. Most of us, when we speak on a topic, the person understands what is going to be my next line. So when you become unpredictable, when there is an element of surprise into it, then there's an element of humor into it. For instance, where there is a will, I like to be in it. So when I said where there is a will, all of you expected that I'll say there is a way. But then I said something new. Now that is a subtle way of injecting humor. When people expect something, where there is a will, there are relatives. So will is a document to pass your property after your death. So where there is a will, there are relatives. Similarly, there are many ways to add humor. So one way is by creating surprise. There's a name of this technique, but the name is not so important. What is important is the technique. This technique is called paraprosdokian, but the name is not important. What is important is the technique. You understand the technique and try to put it in your speeches. Another technique is understatement. You all understand understatement. Bill Gates is a rich person. Now this is another way of adding humor. If you say this, people will laugh at you. He's the richest man in the world, and you say Bill Gates is a rich person. So this is an understatement. Hitler was not a nice person. Understatement. And if you have understatement, you can also have overstatement. By the way, all of you can interrupt me and ask questions. Even at this stage also, you can keep asking questions. So there is no problem. You can be very free. You can interrupt me. I mean, you can ask whatever you want to ask. Or you want to give me a situation in between also, try and do that. I'll just give you a few principles of humor because there are many, many principles. Other one is called rhetorics. Rhetorics is beautification. When you go to a salon for a facial, what happens? You are the same person, but then you beautify yourself. Similarly, rhetorics is an art of beautifying your sentences. Now, there are many kinds of rhetorics. Rhetorics of sound, rhetorics of balance, rhetorics of repetition, and so on and so forth. Similarly, there's a rhetorics of humor also. How do you add humor? There are certain rhetorics. For humor, one of the most prominent rhetoric is pun. Another one is paradox. Another one is oxymoron. There are many others, but we'll take only these three: pun, paradox, oxymoron. I'm sure most of you know this technique. Most of you may be using this technique. Maybe technically you do not know the name of the technique, but while you're talking to your friends, you're applying these techniques knowingly or unknowingly. Pun is a technique of playing with words. When somebody utters a word, you twist it and create humor out of it. That is pun. Playing, literally playing with words. And this we do every time, every day. And why not inject the same when we are speaking? You are doing it all the time. It's not that you have to learn this. You make fun of your mom, you make fun of your father, he says something. He says, do you want ice cream? You say, yeah, ice cream. You start screaming. No, you are making fun of your father. You are doing this pun all the time. You don't have to learn, you know it. What you are not doing is you are not consciously putting it into your speeches. This is all you are not doing. Otherwise, it's not that something new. These techniques are very age old. You go to a shopkeeper, you tell him for a product, he makes a fun out of that name, that word. That's fun. Other thing is paradox. Paradox is, we all understand. Again, we know this technique. Only when we have a formal word for the technique, then we think, oh, this is something new. No, not new. We have been practicing it. We have been utilizing it. We have been planting it all the time. Only when we prepare a formal speech, then we forget these techniques. That is the time when we don't apply any technique. And that is the best time to apply these techniques. War is peace, is paradox. Rich is poor, is paradox. So you can make fun of these. So you create humor by injecting paradox. Another technique which I told you was oxymoron. Peaceful revolution. Contradictory word. Either it is peaceful or it is revolution. How can it be both? So you create some humor out of it. Open secret. Either it is open or it is secret. It can't be both. So this is easy way of creating humor. Now people talk like this. It's not wrong. Somebody says, your Madam Arna says, okay, I'm telling you this. This is an open, this is a secret. So you can tell, oh, you mean open secret. So you can make fun of her. Of course, with your teachers, you respectfully, you make fun. And there are many other rhetorics to add humor. There are certain techniques in your own culture, in your own language. When you plant those words, it will create humor. You know your language, you know your culture. You can plant that into your speech. It will add color to your speech. I'm sharing only the easy ones where clarification is not required. There are many other techniques, but I'm using only the simple techniques which you can apply instantly. Another one is pause. If you don't know how to pause in your joke, it wouldn't elicit humor. Before the joke, after the joke, in the joke, before the punch word, you must know that. Same sentence, when you speak with different kind of pauses, it will create different kind of impact. If you don't know how to pause correctly, you might be telling a best joke, but maybe your audience does not understand your joke, or they may not laugh at your joke because pause was missing. When you take a pause, you keep your audience guessing, and then you utter that word. And of course, when you have that punch word, it should be little louder than your normal sentence volume. So pausing, and in the question answer session, we can discuss more points. All of you can create your questions regarding these points or any other point which you feel like. Another technique is called redefine. If somebody says bank means this, you instantly change few words and you say, no, it means this. And you create humor out of it. You say, father is one who takes care of you. You can say, no, my father is my ATM. You just simply redefine. My father is ATM. So what do you mean by ATM? ATM is all-time money. I can ask money from my father anytime. Morning, evening, afternoon, Sunday, Saturday, whenever I feel like, Papa, I need money, I need money, I need money. So you can redefine words. And when you redefine, there is humor into it. Then there is something, few principles are there in humor. Humor is always self-deprecating. You never make fun of others. You only make fun of yourself, your only family members, about your own race, about your own countrymen. If you are an Indonesian, you should not speak against some other nationality. You can make fun of Indonesian, that's fine. You belong to a certain culture, you can make fun of that culture. You make fun of yourself. Madam Arna can make jokes about women, but I cannot make jokes about women. You see, so this sensitivity has to be understood. You cannot criticize about my wife, but I can criticize about her. I can make jokes about my wife. That's fine. So this is self-deprecating. This principle should be understood. You should not cross that line. This is where most of the stand-up comedians go wrong. Most of the stand-up comedians, they forget that line. They cross that line. And that happens because of the excitement. The last point which I would like to tell you, that your humor should be engaging. When you make a speech, you can't engage your audience without injecting humor into it. So if you have a speech of a fairly long duration, every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever duration it is, if it is an audience which have a very short attention span, you must keep adding that humor at every interval so that they keep connected to you. Else, they'll go out of your clutches. You can't hold them by your neck. I told you that there are few principles, and let me give you a surprise now. The principles are, if you sum up, surprise, understatement, rhetorics, pause, redefine, identify, self-deprecating, and engaging. Now, if you take the first letter of each word, this also becomes surprise. So there has to be surprise literally also, and surprise as an acronym also into your speech. Thank you very much. Now we begin question and answer. I tried to be as simple as possible, but now with this question and answer, let us take it to a next level. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Arun, for your presentation. It's nice. It's a nice presentation. Now, my friend Delika have a summary of us according to Mr. Arun's presentation.
Okay, Mr. Arun's summary is, humor is seldom predictable. That's great humor. When you become unpredictable, that's a plus for you. What will creating humor? Surprise. The technique understatements. We can practice to add some humor, use the technique. We can creating humor by injecting paradox and sensitivity, understand that important too.
Excellent. You can also make humor on names, person's name. You can add humor about the name of a person also.
Sir Arun, we have one question from Sir Prima, and also welcome Coach David. Thanks for joining with us here.
Yes,
yeah,
Prima,
Sir Prima will ask you a question.
Actually, let me correct what Memerna said. Actually, not one, sir. Am I allowed to ask more than one question?
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
you
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
More the better.
More
Okay.
more the merrier.
Okay. Excuse me, sir. Before I go to Mr. Arun Sharma, I would like to ask Mr. Chuban Seng first. Sir, is that possible for me to get that kind of polo shirt for myself too?
Your what?
Your polo shirt is really eye-catching,
Polo
sir.
shirt.
Yeah, your polo shirt, the one that you are wearing right now. Yeah. Can I have one now? Can I have one? Yeah, okay.
And not only for you, sir, for me too.
I mean three. One for us.
Three
One
of
for each
us,
of
yeah,
us.
three
Yeah.
of us.
Okay.
Got his polo shirt from Apollo. So you can play, you can rhyme your words and create humor.
Okay. Okay. Go back to Mr. Arun Sharma. What you have told us is really interesting. Like the first one is paradox. The first question is can we call paradox with irony? Irony.
Irony is almost equal to paradox, but irony can have little bit an element of sarcasm. So if you do it with caution, it's perfectly fine.
Oh,
Your,
so
your
it means
humor,
that
your irony is perfectly okay. The policeman got fined for parking his car in the no parking zone. So this is an irony.
okay.
You can say something like, so this is an irony. This creates you. Irony is almost near to paradox, but it's not equal. There are many similar words. They are not. Yes, irony is also one of the ways to add humor. Perfectly right.
Okay, got it, sir. And then talking about hesitation, hesitation and pause that you are talking about, are they the same? Like when you are hesitate during the speech and you do the pause, is that the same, sir?
No, there are two kinds of hesitation. One is unintentional, one is intentional. Whatever the stand-up comedians hesitate, they do it purposefully.
Oh.
They don't hesitate, but they purposefully do it so that they create an excitement in their audience. You know, it is so as if he's hesitating. He's not really hesitating. So that is purposeful hesitation. So purposeful hesitation is good for creating humor. But if you are hesitating without a reason, then it is bad. That means you're nervous.
Okay, got it. Two more questions, sir. Is that okay?
Yes. Unlimited. You are making Chuban Singh very happy.
Okay. Because it's really interesting. And then humor should be engaging. That one. Now, does it mean that in every speech that we deliver, we are supposed to have humors in it, or like what, sir?
Other than obituary, I would recommend every speech should have humor.
Okay.
So if you are speaking on a funeral, other than that, everywhere try to put in humor, because humor will connect you with the audience. People will listen to you. There are 4 friends who have come to your home for a party. One who's more humorous, you like to connect with him more. So humor will pull. Sometimes what happens, it is not the substance of speech which appeals to your audience. It is your humor which appeals to your audience. People don't remember your speech in the long run, but they remember the feeling, and the feeling is through humor.
Okay, thank you. The last one, sir. It's about when you are talking about like the time that you speak about your wife, like you talk about my wife, blah 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 blah, something like that. I built my own words, which is called the line of politeness. The line of politeness, like what you said. Every stand-up comedian usually break that line. Now, the line of politeness. Talking about that line, is that depending on the audiences themselves? Like, yeah, you say when the audiences are quite educated, maybe it is best for us not to break the line. Yes. Or what, sir?
Mr. Prema, sir, I would like to add, whether your audience is educated or not so educated does not matter. In any case, you should not cross the line of culture, line of gender, line of nationality. You should not cross any line, because what happens is you are creating a brand for yourself. You are creating a goodwill for yourself. You are creating an integrity for yourself. You make one wrong speech, you speak one wrong line, it will go down the history. I remember a friend of mine who's a celebrity in India. 10 years ago, he made some speech and he made fun of women. What happened? Later, he was given a ticket of parliament to contest an election. Opposition party encashed on that only one line he spoke, and he lost the election.
Oh.
So you see, your own sentence will haunt you lifelong. You speak 100 good things about me, I will not appreciate. You speak one bad thing about me, I will keep on harping that, and I'll ask an answer for that. I'll go to the higher ups and all. So never cross the line, never hurt anybody. Humor is to make people happy. Humor is not to hurt. And sadly enough, I will like to add here, Mr. David Hughes is over here. The Western humor has one problem. The problem is they cannot think of humor without sex. Western humor has another problem. So that they always talk about, they make fun of certain races. No, there is so much in humor which they can go for. I've been hearing the best of humorists, they only talk of sex. When they cannot think of jokes without have that sex overtones. This is something amazing.
Can I say something, Adam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's funny, but not true of me, okay? But when I was first going out with my wife, before we were married, I went to meet her mother. Her mother was a very devout lady, prayed every day. And the day I went to see her, first time I'd ever met her, I went to her house and walked down the passageway, and her mother was on her knees praying. I said, I won't be a minute, I've just got to get something. And I swear that when I passed her, she was saying, please God, don't make my daughter marry him. That's humor.
That's a wonderful way
to
add humor. Beautiful. Now, this is self-deprecation. It's a beautiful example of self-deprecation. See, the way he was building up the story, he was making it very serious. And at the end, he changed the context. So that is excellent. Excellent. Full marks to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arun Sharma. Thank you, Mr. David.
Any more questions, please?
No, can I just make a point? I came in late and I apologize for that. I did do a session with Kenny and one of the students earlier.
Yeah.
One of the things, and you may have mentioned this is going from my perspective, and I do humorous speeches from time to time. They're very difficult to write, and there are about 29 different types of humor, because there's black humor, funny stuff, sarcastic, witty, all those sorts of things. And humor is revealed by the audience mainly. So when you're speaking and you look around the room, you will know who's enjoying it and who isn't. That can tell you whether you've crossed the line or not. But regardless of what you do in a speech in terms of humor, as Aaron says, don't cross a line that's attacking people, but it reveals itself, humor. There's 29 different types, so there's 29 different types of people with different likes in humor. You can't please them all, but as long as you're self-deprecation, as long as you're not crossing lines, they will all be engaged either way. Thanks.
Excellently put by David. I'd like to add here, if you go to a program where there is a humorist, if you're going with your daughter, and if you're going with your wife, and you're going with your mother, all three are with you. And if all can enjoy, then it is in healthy humor. This much I can tell you. Yes, anybody else has a question? These questions are very nice because we all learn through questions. Yes, I can see some eager minds on the screen. They want to ask questions.
Sir, I want to ask the question.
Sure. Kenny.
Okay. So in the past meeting with Mr. David, we learned that all the audience that listen to your speech will only remember how they feel listening to the opening and the closing, right? So my question is, if I add jokes to the middle part, like the body of the speech, will that make the speech more memorable?
Yes, wonderful question. What David said is absolutely right. People will never remember your whole speech. They'll just remember maybe one or two lines of your speech, one or 2 points of the speech, key point of your speech. He's very correct. How you make them feel, they will remember it lifelong. But what you said, exact words, they will not remember. As far as humor and jokes are concerned, you should have only one-liners in your speech. You don't have a joke which is quite long. You take about more than a minute to speak your joke. That joke will flop for sure. The joke should not last for more than 10 seconds. It should be very, very short, one-liner, preferably one-liner or two-liner, not more than that. So your jokes should be very precise. Very, very precise, and practice your jokes again and again, because the way you deliver the joke, the delivery is more important. The way you pause, the way you hesitate, the way you vary your voice with those. Your joke could have only 7 words or 8 words. Now, how do you do that? That is very important. Same joke, David says he can create humor. Same joke, I say it may not create humor. It is the same joke, same words. But his expression, his face, his hands, his voice, it can add humor to it. And I say the same joke, it doesn't. So it can happen. Yes, another question?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, Gabriel, carry on.
Yeah, yes, sir. How if the audience didn't get the joke?
If they don't understand your joke.
Yes.
This is wonderful. This is really supremely wonderful. This will happen most of the time. If you are a new humorist, this will happen to you. And you must know how to take that situation. You must know how to handle that situation. You must know how to come over that situation. Otherwise, your standard could go down after that. So when you crack a joke, you probably wait for 2-3 seconds to see the reaction of your audience. If they don't react, carry on with your speech. Don't bother, and never make a mistake of clarifying or explaining your joke. That could be a massacre. That could be a disaster. You crack a joke, they don't understand. Fair enough. Get on. I mean, keep speaking. You continue with your speech. Don't say, oh, actually, what you don't understand what I'll tell you. This means this. No, never do that. That's not your job. They don't understand. Forget it. Leave it, and you move on. So you learn to accept that people will not laugh at your joke. That might happen, and that will mostly happen. 90% of the time happen, unless until you become an expert in delivering a joke. So that will happen, and be prepared for that. Thank you. Carry on. Some other question?
I noticed that, Aaron, in the session that I did, the students seem a bit reluctant to ask questions, and perhaps they feel intimidated because we're adults and we do this for a living and so on, or they're shy. But they ask lots of questions in the other sessions when you're speaking to them one-to-one and so on. But
that's quite obvious. Maybe they're a little shy. I'm new to them.
I think so.
They know Chuban Singh, they know you, but they don't know me. So that's
it. That's it.
So,
Kenny's very talkative, and he's a good leader for that sort of stuff. And
okay.
And when I was on a session with him today, I was actually on the session with one of the students I'm coaching, but Kenny came in.
So Kenny G, please blow your trumpet. So this is another way of creating humor. You with the name David and Goliath. So when you say, you will create humor. So whatever, something rhyming. like her name is Erna. There's a city in India which is called Ernakulam. So Erna from Ernakulam. So when you say, people will laugh. So when I say prima, sir prima, prima donna. So this will create laughter. So with the names also you can create laughter. Michelle, you shall. So you can create laughter with the names also. Whatever names you are, so try to create laughter because people will never forget that humor. When you create fun with their name, when you say Grace, please don't disgrace me. So that will create laughter. So with every name you can create laughter. Cindy Lauper, whatever. So these names will create laughter. So try and do it. Be alert. Be aware. With that awareness and alertness, you'll be able to create more humor. And humor should be more contemporary, immediate. Whatever is visible, when somebody has spoken before you, try to pull one word out of it and create humor out of it. So people will appreciate that. Instead of a prepared joke, you are saying, it is an instantaneous joke. You make fun of it. Yes, some more questions, please.
Okay, sir, I have a question for you. For example, it look like a case. One of the student will perform, and then she has 2 days left before the performance day, and actually she wants to bring a joke in her speech, but basically she doesn't have any patience in her joke, in her speech, in her speech. So what should she do?
If I understand your question, Erna, that she has already prepared a speech and she has a few jokes. Now she wants to know whether can she plant these jokes in the speech and recreate that same speech. Is this your question?
Yeah, but she already tried many times and practice. Maybe she also used some techniques, but it doesn't work.
It's okay, fine. So as Prima sir said, don't be afraid of making mistakes. So you have to keep on doing it. You see, the success is on 4th floor. So you have to go to 1st floor, you have to go to 2nd floor, you have to go to 3rd floor, and then you will reach 4th floor. So you can't say, no, I don't want to go to 1st floor. I don't want to go to 2nd floor. I want to go to 4th floor. No, that cannot happen. You want to be a humorist, you have to try it out, fail, try it out, fail, try it out, fail. And then somebody says, oh my God, you did it so well. I tell you, we were laughing. That will happen. So she should try, even if people don't appreciate, even if people don't laugh, because it's okay. I mean, she's not making a presidential, she's not president of a country that you speak one word wrong and in the next elections will be thrown out. Nothing will happen. So she can try it and she must try it out. Be brave, do it, challenge yourself and don't be afraid of, as Chu Ban Singh and Prima sir said, don't be afraid of making mistakes. As they say, nothing is impossible. Says who? I've been doing nothing for years. So you can create humor in many situations. Yes, any more question, madam?
Can I ask again, please?
Yes, please.
Mr. Chu Ban Seng, is that okay? Yeah, I really need to take care of Mr. Chu Ban Seng's feeling because I'm really expecting for the polo shirt.
For the polo shirt.
Now, Mr. Arun, how about if the person who is delivering the speech is a kind of a rigid person, like introvert, like Iceman, like that, like yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? I'm like unsociable, things like that. Now, is that any? Is there any certain motivation, certain shortcut, to break that ice, sir?
An introvert can be a better author. An extrovert can be a better speaker. So you have to be when you are making a speech. If you are not extrovert forever, at least those moments you have to be extrovert. You have to come out of yourself. Otherwise, you will not be able to, even if you have a good script, you will not be able to connect with the audience if you're introvert on those moments. So you have to be extrovert. Otherwise, you cannot do comedy, you cannot do jokes, you cannot do stand-up comedy, you cannot be a humorist. You cannot be. You have to be an extrovert, and there is no, I mean, you keep trying. For instance, I can tell about myself. I was an introvert till about 3 to 4 years ago. I could never speak to a stranger. That was my personality. But then I changed over a period of time. And today I'm an extrovert. And I can become introvert also into a different kind of gathering. In a spiritual gathering, I can become an introvert also. Otherwise, I'm an extrovert. So you have to force yourself, keep changing. It's about changing your attitude, and you can change it. I mean, people can change their DNA also. So this is a smaller thing. Yes, I think we have another 2-3 minutes before we may take 1 or 2 more questions. Then I would like Chuban Singh to add, and David Hughes also to add something. Yes, David, go ahead. You have a question.
I was just going to say, I mean, I don't know whether it's available in, excuse me, in Indonesia, but there are lots of books where you can get that have got one-liners in them, and
Yes.
you can make them up yourself, as Alan says. One that I use quite a lot in my workshops when I'm trying to get people's attention, they're talking about what they've done in life. You know, I'm an engineer, I'm a CEO, and I tell them I used to be a tap dancer, but I had to stop because one night I fell off and broke my ankles in the sink. Now, that's understandable here. Americans call them faucets, so you couldn't tell that in America. It has to be only to English-speaking audiences. So you just say tap dancer, I used to do that, had to give it up because one night I fell off and broke my ankles in the sink. You connect the tap. So you can use one-liners. When Alan was saying about military and about oxymorons, 2 opposites. Military intelligence is one of the famous oxymorons. You can say things like that, but make sure there's no generals in the audience. You know? So, as I say, you can say something and you won't know. It may not feel funny to you, but the audience might laugh. A bit like the official Prima before when he started speaking. People were laughing. It wasn't what he said, it was just the way it was done. So that's just echoing what you said, Adam.
I fully agree with David. You can buy a book of one-liners, or you can collect one-liners, have an inventory of one-liners so that you can plant that whenever you require in a speech. For instance, if somebody is talking too much about himself, then you can say, don't talk about yourself, it will be done when you leave. So this way you can add humor to your speeches. So one last question and then we'll wrap up. From my side, I'll wrap up and then somebody else can take the control of the meeting. One last question.
Okay, one last question. Natasha, Cynthia, please, your question.
So, sir, when we add some humor to the audience, should we use exaggerated expressions such as making funny face or acting casual?
There are 2 kinds of humor. There are 2 kinds of humorists. Normally, I know more about Indian humorists. They don't make a funny face. A humorist will normally not make a funny face. He will deliver a joke. He will speak one-liner and he will be stone-faced, expressionless. And then what happens is when people react, then maybe then he puts up a smile. If people don't react, then he won't even smile. So you can also try it out this way. If you deliver a joke and you start laughing, people might get confused that what has happened. So you need not. Let them first smile or laugh, then you can, supplement it with your smile. You don't laugh. So has everyone asked their questions? If you have any doubt, do ask. It's better to make a fool of yourself for 5 minutes than to make fool of yourself lifelong. So do ask questions. Do ask.
Can I ask?
Yes, Gilbert. No, who is this? Melvin.
Milford.
Okay, Melvin.
So could you tell us what's the point to make our jokes in the speech is not too cringe, so that maybe people can relatable to our speech, to our jokes?
It's a wonderful question. What is the need of planting jokes into that? Have you been to a technical seminar, seminar of a doctor or seminar of an engineer, seminar of some technical people? Mostly people go there for lunch, dinner and sleeping. They go and sleep in those seminars. It's not that the content is not rich. Content is supremely rich. If a doctor is talking about COVID-19, he's talking sense. He's talking absolutely sense, and it is meaningful and useful to the society. But the problem is nobody is listening. Problem is everybody is sleeping because they find it boring. Human mind cannot absorb any speech for more than few minutes. So you have to pepper your speech with humor. Keep on adding, and so people take interest and they laugh and they clap, and then again they capture the next point. Again, you crack a small one-liner, again they laugh, and then again they can capture your next point. So in a technical seminar, it is of paramount importance to add humor. Otherwise, technical seminar, you will flop. I've attended many seminars, my chartered accountancy seminar, and you find it so boring, you cannot imagine. You are bored to death. Yes. I will request my friend David to speak a few words, and then Chuban Singh, and then give the control to Erna or the MC.
Thank you, Aaron. Look, I think that, you know, you and I are a little older than students, and so we've had far more experience in life. We've heard many more things and so on. But as I said earlier, humor, you develop it. As you say, you can't start being a humorist from the beginning. You have to go step by step. So it's about doing and then becoming. Some people want to become before they do anything. So I think that just think of something that was funny to you and try, if you're going to add humor to your speech, just remember what that was like and then use that line, whatever it happens to be, you know. For example, when I was first married, my wife said to me, "How do you like your eggs boiled, David?" And I said, "In water." Now, that was the last time I ever said that because of the look she gave me. Okay, so they're the kinds of lines. That's a universal funny line. Most countries, as you heard there, will understand that. But I think that the speeches you give at World Speech Day, it's about humanity at the crossroads. So you might have time to add some humor to the speech, but it's not like you're there to be a comedian. You're there to give a speech, and the funny part will be something that happened to you. You know, people laugh at things that are important to them. So if you've had something that was funny to you and you feel like you can add it to the speech, that's a good thing to do. A speech can't be a series of one-liners. It's just the occasional line. It's that, a bit of a spice to a meal, you know, that sort of thing. But I think that from the people I've seen, what I've heard Adam speak tonight, what I've heard your teachers say, I think you'll be fine. And as Adam said and invited you to do, if you've got an issue, we've got, what, it's the 5th today, 10 days to get you through. If you've got questions of me, Aaron, or Cyrus, just get on WhatsApp and say, I have this question for you. Can you answer this for me, please?
Yes, wonderful.
All right. So that's all I've got to say. But thanks. I've been really interested in what you've been speaking about. And I did come in late. I didn't get up till late this morning because I was up late last night. So I keep a busy life. But the good thing is I can laugh about it in the end, even though I'm tired. But take care. So thanks, Aaron, for letting me speak. I'll hand it over to, that's what I meant to say. If you look at Mr. Chew's initials, B.S. Chew.
BS.
Now in the West, BS means something quite different to his name. Okay? And if you hear comedians speak, they'll say things with the initials BS. He's a brave man to have those initials. Only kidding.
Excellent.
Thanks.
So thank you, David, for that. I just remembered one or two one-liners. I only sleep 4 hours in a day and 10 hours in the night. So these are one-liners. If I agreed with you, we both would be wrong. So these are one-liners. Just remembered. Yes.
But I sleep like a baby, 2 hours at a time.
Wonderful. Yes, Mr. Chu.
Well, I hope all of you have enjoyed yourself. I'm not a very humorous person, as you probably are aware. I'm quite serious.
That's why we make fun of you. That's why we make fun of you. You don't.
But as David have said, my name is BS. In Indonesia, it means buang saja, right? You will probably laugh at buang saja because it's like second-hand rubbish, you throw it away. So when I introduce myself as BS, you will laugh. Indonesian will laugh. All right. But then when I say, and when they laugh, I will say big shot. You see, so that's something that goes in.
Which is a statement
BS
of fact.
is something that you will throw away, buang saja, right? Or in the Western world, it means bullshit, right? But when I say I'm the big shot, I'm big shot, then straight away is a change in the atmosphere from a contrast of something that's no value to something that's very high up in the hierarchy. So that's the contrast that's very important. The other thing that's very important is that when you're trying to give a humorous, put in a speech and putting in humor, pauses are very important, as Arun have said, and I think David have also re-emphasized. Because when you say A, B, A and B, then you will normally go to the normal progression, is C, right? But if you say A, B, and then you say throw something in, totally opposite or totally different, totally unexpected, that will create a surprise. This is one thing that was being shared with one of my world championship was public speaker. And he was talking about a wintering night. And so when it was a very wintering night and they were going from one place to another, what would you bring? You bring blankets, you bring warm clothing, you bring everything that's necessary to keep you warm, right? So he says that, I bring sweaters, I bring blankets. And he paused and he says, and my grandmother. You see the situation? So you have expected him to say this, but he brings in a surprise and he says, my grandmother. How is my grandmother going to bring warmth to a wintry night? So that's how you play with humor, and important to make sure you pause so that people in their own mind start to fill in that A, B, C, and then you give them Z. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are things that you have to try. And as one of my friends who is a world champion of public speaking would say, if you keep on giving jokes and nobody laughs, just move on, all right? And you try another joke. And eventually people will catch on. And if you are going for a championship speaking contest, it is important for you to know that there are certain jokes that are relevant in the East where people will laugh. And then when you go to the West and you try to speak, nobody laughs. So that's okay. So when you are, depending on the audience, this joke will work in Asia, these jokes will work in USA or in the Western world. But don't expect all your jokes to work everywhere. So that's a word of advice from some world public speaking champions. Fair enough?
Okay. Okay, back to MC. Thank you, Sir Chu, Sir Arun, Mr.
Mr.
David.
Arun, I have a request.
Oh,
Yes,
one more
Gilbert.
student, one left behind.
You have been talk long about jokes. I'd like to challenging you. Can you tell us a joke?
Give me a topic.
Up to you.
Up to me.
Yes. Mr. Prima, you can tell us too, if you can.
It can be up to God also. But if you give me a topic, it is better to pinpoint and let me try something.
Can I have the can I give the topic?
Yes.
Okay. Who's playing here, Gilbert?
Sorry? Which?
Who's, no, I mean, who's playing here? Is it me giving the topic and Mr.
Just
only
Arun
Mr.
Sharma.
If you want, if you
It's
want,
not
Mr.
fun.
Prima.
It's not fun. How about Mr. Arun, Mr. Jubanseng, and Mr. David?
No, to give a topic.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
What market maybe, or something garden or something.
When you say
else?
hang on, I get so
yeah.
scared. I think you're going to hang me on. And Albert Gilbert is co-brother of Albert Einstein. So he thinks at the last. So
what's the topic? Is it if I say out of the box, is that the topic?
Out of the box.
Yeah.
Out
Excellent.
of the box.
My thoughts and myself are contradictory. I'm in the box and my thoughts are out of the box. Something like this. I can. So whatever topic, try some other topic. You can give some whatever. You can talk about pizza. You can talk about whatever.
Garden maybe.
Sorry.
Garden. Park.
Garden. Oh,
Yeah,
garden.
flowers or something like, yeah.
Of course, in Hindi, there is a beautiful word for flowers, which is fool in English. So in Hindi, we call it fool. Fool means a flower, whereas in English, it means a person of low IQ. So we can create a garden. In this garden of flowers, it takes all sorts of flowers to make a garden. Similarly, it takes all sorts of human to make this world. You can have something like that. Give me one more challenge.
Tell us a joke about Australians.
Jokes about Australian.
I got one.
They are not always down under. Sometimes they are up above.
I think Australian are jolly good fellas. One problem is this: they have very deep pockets but very short hands.
And I don't mind what you say because I'm not from Australia. I just live here. But I can tell you I'll tell you my favourite Australian joke. Some immigrants are getting off a plane at Tullamarine in Melbourne, and the guy says to the first person he meets, "Tell me, sir," he said, "what kind of job do you think I could get in Australia with an IQ of 150? This guy says, "Well, you could be the head of the government. You could be the CEO of the World Bank with an IQ of 150. He said, "Well, what if I had an IQ of 110? He said, "Oh, you'd still be good. You could be a manager at KFC or McDonald's or anything." He said, "Well, what if I only had an IQ of about 75? He said, "Oh, well, you'd be no good." He said, "You wouldn't even be able to tie up your shoelaces." He said, "Oh, is that why all you Australians wear thongs?"
Beautiful, beautiful.
Wonderful.
I fully agree. So the bottom line is your IQ must be more than your shoe size. Okay. Wonderful. It's a excellent session, and we already have a time overrun.
Yeah, no more question. Okay, Delika, please.
Arun, maybe you can identify who are your mentees in this group.
I mean, it is their choice. Whoever wants to become, I'll welcome everyone. I have
No, actually,
issue.
you have 3 mentees here. Melfern.
Okay.
Which one? Melfern, Dio, and Michelle. 3 mentees that you never met before.
Okay.
3 of them here.
Okay, I hope you will engage with Arun and do something together.
Michelle, mentor Michelle. So please do contact me. You can send in the WhatsApp group. We are there in the group. So you can put in your questions, or if you want to you want me to do one more session, 1-to-1 also, that's possible. And we can do it together, me, David, and 3 of you or whatever. So because
that's very kind of you. That's very kind of you, Alan, inviting me. No, well, yeah, I mean, certainly, if you need to do that, that's fine.
No, because so simply because David is huge. He's got huge experience. So you say huge. And
well,
not
that's
only
my name, huge.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying. So he's got multiple huges. So.
We spoke about that the other night. People do call me Mr. Hughes or Mr. Hogheads, but that's not my name. That's my name at all. The GH is silent in the name Hughes, just like the L in banana.
So David has many hues, many colors. Man of many colors. Anyway, that's wonderful. I love pulling legs, and the chemistry is working with David.
Good.
Okay.
It's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Same here. Yes, Erna, would you like to take control of the meeting now?
Yes, okay. Now turn Delika. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Arun, for your time. And now, guys, tidy up your aprons, give your best smile, because we will take a picture after this. And Mom Erna will take a picture for us.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Give your cheese. Okay, thank you, Delika. Thank you for all.
Right.
Thank you.
See you later. Good to see you again, Mr. Chu and Alan. I'll speak to you soon.
Same here, David. Pleasure. Okay, thank you, Arna. Thank you, Prema sir. Thank you, students.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Chuban Singh. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. And then
See you guys.
for your mentees, please connect Mr. Arun as soon as possible. Melfern, Dio, and Michelle. Try to engage, right? Okay.
And Natasha, I'll send Natasha this. I'll send Natasha the.
Thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
Wonderful session. I'm gonna clap all the time, all the night, before you guys go out from this meeting. I will always clap.
Can I leave?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And take your polo shirt from Mr. Chiu.
Take your polo shirt.
Nice topic. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
This is a wonderful session, a tricky session for us. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. I'm glad that we finish it.
Did you be here?
Yes. And yeah, lega. And better better outro music. I like this music. I think we can close it. Good night, nice job, and thank you everyone.